Did anybody, whether it be in the medical field or elsewhere, suggest that you abort her?
Early on, that very first ultrasound, where they confirmed the blood test results, there's another test that you can do. I don't remember what it was called, to help confirm the diagnosis, similar to like an amniocentesis. And they encouraged us, like, if you're wanting to make a decision to terminate, you'll need to do this test by this period of time. And so that was really the only time that it was part of the conversation. And it was more informative of just, you need to know
your
that
option.
Yeah, you need to know the options, and this is the time span in which it needs to happen. But our doctor, we were able to, at that appointment, just tell our doctor, like, that termination just won't be an option for us.
Yeah. So you chose not to terminate, and that kind of is counterculture. It seems like right now, so many in our culture are saying, this baby's not going to survive. Just reduce the pain, terminate now. What made you choose to not terminate and to prolong, basically, the situation?
Yeah. It's a tough decision to make. I mean, it is and it isn't. To me, it's like the moment I found out that I was pregnant with Iris, or just pregnant, I didn't know she was going to be Iris, but I loved her. I felt a maternal need to protect her and fight for her in the same way that I had been doing for Theo for the last year of his life.
Right.
So I think maybe partially that, just that I had already had the experience of having Theo and knowing what it was to protect and care for him in the same way I felt that for her, that she didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
She didn't bring this diagnosis upon herself. I didn't do anything to bring this upon her either, but I needed to fight for her and protect her. And there was a part of me that, I believed that God can heal. And I think in that time hoped that that would be the outcome of her story. I'm okay now with the outcome that we have received for her life. But when you're in the process of it, you're kind of just going through it. I think too, for me, it's like you don't know until you continue on in the process what's actually going on. So at 10 weeks, you're so limited on what you know of her anatomy. I really need to get to, if I can get to 20 weeks, at 20 weeks, then I'll know more about her and her anatomy and what we're looking at. And we got there, and then it was like, okay, there's a chance that she could have mosaic trisomy 18. Let's do this next thing to figure out. So I think that there's also that. You kind of have to go along with the process before you make a permanent decision.
Yeah. It sounds to me like you are very much one who values life and God's sovereignty over that life.
Yes. Yeah. That is another part of it. The practical part of me was kind of like, okay, this is the process of, like, the right thing to do is to see it through, but also the reality of, like, she was my child, and it's not I don't get to choose her story. Like, God created her, and God has gave her to Pat and I, even pre being born outside the womb. He chose her for us and for us to be her parents, and her story, I'm responsible to just be faithful as her mom, and being her mom meant carrying her as long as God would have me carry her, in the same way that I was Theo's mom, and he has his own story, and I'm doing my best to be faithful to the story that God has for him. You have to value the life that God's given you.
Yeah.
Even if the story and the road is rough,
That's beautiful, Alex. That is just beautiful.